Welcome to Collector's Corner, the premier digital art platform.
We help collectors gain and maintain their edge, all while appreciating beautiful art.
Let's jump in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Cornering the Market. My name is P. You may know me online as @AstonCloud. I'm your host today, and it is Thursday, January 12th. About 7:10 p.m. As you can see, because you're seeing my computer, first time ever, we're doing a video episode. Unfortunately, Jared couldn't make it. He's on vacation with the family. He's a family man. So it will be just me today, but I'm really excited because we've been hearing from you all that you want to see some art during these weekly episodes. And I'll tell you why we haven't done it yet is because truthfully, I do a lot of the editing and I don't quite know how to edit video yet. So I will be figuring that out as well. So please bear with me and any issues that there might be. And the other reason was just trying to make sure we are showcasing everything properly. You know, we usually do Deca galleries for our longer form conversations, and that helps us curate and give you a better experience. But this time we'll kind of take you through it and see how you enjoy it. I think you'll like it. I'm excited, did a lot of prep for this. So please let me know how you find it. Without further ado, so Thursday, January 12th, a lot has gone on. Really excited for this update because the market has been heating up and I think there's a lot of excitement out there. Before we jump in, I always do a Twitter thread after this, but you listeners who are subscribing and following, I release these as soon as I edit them the night before, and then I usually send out a tweet thread that summarizes this sometime the next day. And I also wanted to show you on the screen here, we have a newsletter. It's a Substack newsletter that has been going pretty well. People seem to enjoy it, and we put some exclusive stories in there. That's to some extent because we want you to sign up for the newsletter, but the reality is we want to try to keep these weekly episodes short, and we just don't have the time to go through everything we're seeing. So we gather a few more things and we try to put them in the newsletter. And some of them, I kind of wish I had put in the podcast because some of the art we talked about has really taken off in popularity and sometimes in price. So check that out and subscribe. Please let us know if you enjoy it. And let's dive in. So we always start with the kind of global, what we call it the macro, but really the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tezos prices. Been a really, really good week. Bitcoin, as you can see here, is up 12.3% on the week at 18,800. Ethereum is up 13.3%. And if we hop down to XTZ, Tezos is up 15.7% as well. And things seem to be improving in the kind of broader stock market. The inflation numbers came in today. Actually, they were lower than expected, or maybe perhaps as expected, but has dropped. So that seemed to help the market. And as you can see here, Bitcoin really took off in the last 24 hours. So not sure what's going on there, but either way, this impacts the art market because people now feel a little bit more comfortable. They feel like, okay, maybe the bottom's in and they're willing to buy. And we have seen some good volume in the art market shifting over to NFT price floor. So this is what we use when we look at how some of the art sales have been. And we've kind of selected different projects here that we feel like a good representation of blue chip art projects. And so taking a look at the last 7 days, Mind the Gap by Mount Vitruvius, 58 sales, really, really impressive. Remember, this is not an Art Blocks launch. It came through GM Studio, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with GM Studio. We love their drops. I'm personally a holder of Factura, which I'm a big fan of, but typically you don't get as much attention off of Art Blocks. So this is really great to see. 58 sales there, 32 sales. Actually, when I wrote this down just like an hour ago, it was 34 sales. So I guess some of them happened exactly a week ago, but 32 sales, 700 Ether in volume here for Chromie Squiggles, and we'll do a Squiggle update as well. And Factura, the one I mentioned that I'm a holder of and I enjoy, is 22 sales in the last 7 days. So those are kind of your top ones there. And you can see here we got Chimera and Memories of Qilin, Meridian. Good volume on these, 10 sales for Memories of Qilin. And these are not cheap items. So people are certainly feeling comfortable enough to go ahead and collect some of those. In terms of floor price, Pigment's Art Blocks Curated. You know, sometimes I ignore this one because it seems to fluctuate quite a bit and I don't see it a ton on the sales feed, but that one is up 120%. Mind the Gap, the one we mentioned before, up 42%. It's a 1.75 Ether floor. And Automatism by Yazid, a favorite. Yazid is a fellow grailer and an awesome guy. He set 28.1% up for Automatism, up to 2.69%. We love this project, by the way. Jared is a holder. I'm not, but it's a really fantastic project, and this is one that we're excited to see what happens during the next bull run. So overall, good volume, good mix, and I can tell you what is not quantitative, that the sentiment feels really good. It feels really positive out there in the community. So people are excited, and I'm excited to see that we're seeing some positivity after what's been really like a really long bear market, if we're being honest with ourselves. So let's head over to FxHash. So we go to FxHash. If you click on Marketplace, shows you highest volume past 7 days. Really a good mix of old and new projects, which has been, I feel like, a broken record. We say that all the time about FxHash, but that's just how it is. Very consistent and really just awesome art. I'm really glad I can showcase some of this for you all. So new project, Eucalyptus Sagebrush by Nat Sarkissian. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. 27,000 in secondary sales. This is we'll get to this actually. It was part of a collection that dropped just today. It was really fantastic. We tweeted about it. It wasn't announced until just about 5 days ago. So it was after our last weekly report. And you can see here 23,000 sales. The next one, Chrysalis 23.2, Southern Gothic with Willard. Interestingly, Willard announced that there would be some kind of a kind of a thank you to collectors who had collected both of his collections on Tezos, and that drove some of the volume there. But it's also fantastic art, and Willard was gaining popularity anyways. Then Nested Identities. This is a really cool one that launched. Solace, an old one. So those are the top five, and traditionally I would say, or as of late in FxHash, you see a nice mix of old projects and new projects, which is great actually, because it uncovers old projects that maybe you haven't thought about in a while. And just for project discovery, since we're here, what I like to do is I just like to go to the 24-hour volume in FxHash, and there are multiple pages here, and just kind of scroll through it and see what people are buying. This is not a sign of like where's their momentum and anything like that. It's just sort of uncovering really nice art. It's kind of an interesting discovery mechanism that I've been enjoying as of late. So thought I would share that with everybody. Okay, let's go to a Squiggle update. I'm going to attempt a Chromie Squiggle update. Hopefully I don't put Jared too far to shame. So this is Article. They're a great analytics website focused on generative art. So Chromie Squiggles, the floor here, this is 15.9. I checked, actually, it looks like it's more 16.1. There might be something breaking or stolen one or something along those lines, but that is down. So it was at 17.2 last week. I mentioned the 32 sales in the last 7 days and 700 Ether in volume. So really actually quite high volume for Squiggles, even though the number of sales is not astronomical compared to prior weeks, and some really nice sales at that. I'll show you some of them. I love being able to show you guys these. It's really a lot of fun. So we have here a few notable sales. They're further down than I thought, but here we have a bold that sold for 26, and bolds, there's only about 450 of those, so they're quite rare. That's a beautiful one. Actually, I believe Proper sold that. We had a hyper rainbow sale. That is quite rare. You don't see that often. And they bought it outright. They didn't buy it sort of over the counter or secondary or anything like that. And what was that? That was 134 Ether. We had this, a day zero normal sell for 18.8, which actually this is quite aesthetically pleasing. I think that buyer got a great deal on that one. And then this is the other one I wanted to highlight for 23.5 on X2Y2 people. So don't forget to check that. Sometimes you can get good prices there. This is a color spread 7. The low color spread normals have been really, really desired, and that seems to be heating up, as well as the fuzzies. And just looking at some of the analytics, this chart is very promising in terms of listing price, and selling price sometimes looks a little bumpy here when you have really high sales, but this daily listing price here is interesting to me because it does reflect the market. People will generally list near where they think they can sell, right? This is the daily floor listing price. So that gives you a sense of where the market is at, a little bit better than this daily selling price over here. Volumes just continue to go down. And this is a year-long chart, so this is probably not a crazy surprise to anybody. And another thing we like to look at here is the market cap to cost basis, and squiggles are trending pretty high over there. Normally if you see a collection kind of come down and touch that, it often bounces off that. It often acts as support. So if anything, maybe they're a little hot right now. We'll see. The market really is kind of been bottled up. So we'll see. And we got 57 sales to a floor of 23.5. So, again, I just kind of want to show you how we think about some of these things. And I'm sure Jared can go into more depth when he's back, but I won't go break down every single collection Chromie Squiggles in that much depth every single time. We'll just point out the things that we think are relevant for this specific week. So that's your Squiggle updates. Let's take a look at some Gen Art news. Okay, so the first one, really, this is so cool. This is part of the reason I love this Gen Art community. So Cure 3 exhibition. And what this was is that they are, I think Cure 3 is a foundation that works with other nonprofits, or they are fully focused on Parkinson's. But either way, they had an exhibition where 7 artists created works to raise money for Parkinson's research. And I will show you this work because it's really awesome. And they had a theme here, sort of a square or cube focused theme. And so your artists here were Ana Lucia, Lunarian, Nat Sarkissian, Marcelo Soria, M. Sarario, Yazid. All of their works were on FxHash, and they all launched within like 15 minutes of each other. It was intense. It was intense for collectors. Let's put it that way. And then Ana Carreras and Iskra V, or Point Line. And I'll be honest with you, I actually haven't found Anna's and Iskra's work. It's not on FxHash, so we'll dig that out, and we'll figure out where that is and get that on the newsletter and on the tweet thread. But really cool. They raised over 250,000 Tezos for this cause, which is trading at we mentioned about 88 cents. So let's call it, just for sake of easiness, $200,000. That's a lot in like an hour. And when you see the art, you won't be surprised why. This is my favorite. This one is Marcelo here, and you can. They're just so like cool. I'm at a loss for words here because I find these so fantastic and really quite beautiful. Let me enlarge them so folks can see them a little bit better here, but really varied, really colorful, really granular, and the way he accomplishes the depth and 3D of kind of makes them look 3D is just really fantastic. So they're not cheap. These things all minted out relatively high, and I think part of that is because it was for a cause, but minted out at 875 Tezos. But yeah, really beautiful. I enjoy that one a ton. The next one I wanted to show you is Step by Step by Yazid. And this one you can see is in typical Yazid fashion, just brilliant in terms of the colors and the palettes and the variety. Really, really fun. I would love to collect tons of these. And I should say, full disclosure, I do not know any of these. I did not participate. I was a little bit busy. And so I'm enjoying it like the rest of you folks who may not have picked them up. Yazid has a floor of 248. And this one, M. Serrari's was 100 pieces. This one is 200, so a little bit larger of an addition there. This one I also love, Element by Lunarian, and we'll talk about Lunarian a little bit later. I'm super bullish on them, but this was also a cheaper one, 250, and the floor here is also 250, and great variety, beautiful. It reminds me a little bit like Folio, not fully, but there is kind of a mechanical component to this one. Nat Sarkissian, Eucalyptus and Sagebrush. This was the popular one of the mints. The price, let's see, the lowest is at 1592, so basically 1600 Tezos. And it's not hard to see why. They're beautiful, really kind of landscape, nature scenes that are generated in this wonderful variety too. So check that one out as well. And the last one, over here, is Action System by Ana Lucia. Only 50 of these, very limited, minted out at 984 Tez. So you can imagine they're probably not too cheap right now. Yep, 1300 Tezos is the cheapest, but kind of got that Jackson Pollock-esque vibe to these, and really beautiful, like fantastic. It reminds me a little bit of Glaciation's, her Mexico City Bright Moments drop. Also fantastic. That's our first story. The next one, I want to talk friendship bracelets. So friendship bracelets, I'm actually going to pull up article for this one because I think it's kind of worth looking at this chart. Friendship bracelets, the minting ended on January 10th. It was open for about 2 months. There was a theoretical maximum of 72,000, and up until the weekend, there were about 30,000 minted, but the prices had really taken off. And so they started getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people realized that they had mints, and they, of course, started minting them because it was free money. It was a free mint, and a lot of them sold. But despite that selling pressure, the floor maintained around half an ether. And then yesterday we were doing a spaces talking about it because there's been a lot of talk over the past, really since they've come out, about these friendship bracelets. And early on, a few large collectors were buying a lot of them, and people, of course, were noticing on the blockchain and curious why. So we had a spaces on it, and during that spaces, Flamingo DAO, that's what we have over here, just swept, I think, hundreds. I want to say 600. I'm not even exactly sure. People said they spent 300 ETH. I didn't verify it, but the floor went from half an ether to 0.6. So that was post mint. There was kind of a lull. There was a question of, okay, well, what's really going on here? And since then, the buying has been pretty consistent. The floor has stayed around 0.6. And, we have here, I'll link this in the tweet thread, our conversation talking about why we think this is happening and what the investment case is. Now, I will caveat all this, not financial advice, of course, none of this is, but these are the things that you would have to believe to invest in it for the longer term. And I'm a holder, Jared is a holder. A lot of people are holders, whether it's for free or by purchasing it. But either way, friendship bracelets, super interesting. I think we'll save that for another conversation because I think there's a lot to talk about there. And I do think it's noteworthy because it almost kind of coincided with the kickstarting the market, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. Let us look at some great art that is at great prices. So the first I want to start with is The Spring Begins with the First Rainstorm by Cole Sternberg. Cole's awesome. I've had the pleasure of speaking with him. He's actually coming on the podcast, and I think he has wonderful art here. This collection is beautiful. And to me, and full disclosure, I am a holder. I bought some recently, but at a 0.14 ether price, I think you could buy these if they speak to you and not break the bank. And it's always nice to find art like that. Cole is a successful traditional artist as well, so I think he will bring kind of an interesting style. But he taught himself how to code and actually codes these, so that's pretty cool as well. The next one I wanted to highlight is Attraction by John Vromans, I believe is how you pronounce their name. Floor of 0.16 ether, and just really fantastic art. I'm really drawn to these, and I don't own any, but I would like to collect some. So they're on my radar. And I think if they speak to you, again, won't break the bank, but it's an early Art Blocks project, December 2021. Back then they were called Art Blocks Factory. I almost forgot. We got a new system here, but yeah, Art Blocks Factory, really beautiful and quite great variety in this collection. So I think worth checking out and seeing if like I said, if any of them speak to you. The next one I want to talk about is called Focus by Maddo. Now, to me, I find it strange. This collection has not minted out, and I find it strange because I think it's actually really cool and really varied. Maddo has another collection on Art Blocks called Enso. I believe this was also an Art Blocks Factory. Let's double check it up here. Yep, Art Blocks Factory, 0.125 ETH. There's supposed to be 1,000 though, and so far there's about 450 that are left to be minted. You can mint it on the Art Blocks website for 0.12. And I'll tell you, Maddo is awesome, and I think he's an artist who is also a great collector and a great part of the community. And this art is fantastic. So, check it out. See if you like it. Last one, Scravert by Perkwork. So you're going to hear me say Perkwork a lot today because they have the next Art Blocks curated coming out. And of course, people have already started buying their works on Tezos. This was primarily a Tezos-based artist before that. Of their works, I really like Scravert. And 320 pieces, 124 Tezos floor, nice variety. I don't know. I think they're great. And so I don't own any. I might consider collecting some, but yeah, it's just really fun. So check them out, see what you think, and we'll get to perk work. Speaking of, so after we talk about great art at great prices, we talk about exciting upcoming drops. And I want to introduce something else we're doing for you, our friends. We are creating a Collector's Corner drop calendar because even we, as we prepare for this show, find it difficult to keep up with everything that's going on. So we will start releasing this next week. We'll tweet about it, and it's public. You'll be able to see all the different releases that we are excited about. And, I will say, okay, we put all the art blocks ones out because we think you should know about them. We're going to put the GM Studio ones out there. We're going to put the gen.art ones out there. But, in terms of FxHash, we're not going to put everything out there because there's so many. And so we will curate those for you. So it's a little bit of a mix. And so some cool stuff coming up. We talked about, we're getting to this in terms of what's coming up here. But in general, we are going to put this out there. We hope you enjoy it. We'd love your feedback. And if there's some stuff that you want to put in the calendar, reach out to us. Let us know. So excited for that and excited to hear how you all find it. But let us get to the first drop. This is The Harvest by Per Christian Stoveland, aka Perkwork. So this is the artist that we were just talking about. This is the next curated. People are really excited about this. Let's see if we can generate a cool output for you all. So this is Sansa.xyz. It's a marketplace, but they also have these generators for different works. So you can go and run these algorithms. And for a lot of algorithms, people just run them over and over again. They're running the Ringer's algo, the Fidenza algo. It's just actually a lot of fun. And so you can see what some of the variety looks like here. But I'm actually going to jump over to Twitter real fast because Perkwork has been sharing some of their other outputs that are more colorful, and they're just beautiful. I think it's worth it for you all to see. And look at that. Wow. They actually look very, very good. And I think because of that, this release is going to be a little bit more competitive than I would like. But taking a look at the details of the release, so it is 400 pieces, Dutch auction, starting at 10 Ether, art blocks curated. It's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern on January 18th. So mark your calendars, check out our calendar, and see if you like it. I personally am probably not going to mint because I think it's going to be really hot and might get botted. We'll see. But I'm going to check out secondary and see what it looks like. And if something speaks to me, I might grab it. Excited for it, though. Absolutely excited for it. The next one I want to talk about is not really upcoming. It's still minting. It's The Colors That Heal by Ryan Green. Really, this is beautiful work. It's for a fantastic cause. So Turn Out for Burnout. This is for healthcare workers who are burnt out. And I was a healthcare worker and I know what that is like. And this is a touching story where Ryan's son had chemotherapy for a long time in the hospital. That's really tough. And so this is really for a great cause, 0.2 Ether and about 120 left. Our next segment is Artist to Highlight. First artist I want to highlight is Raylan Ark. Raylan Ark is really, I would say, an up-and-coming artist, and she has some beautiful work. Very clean. I like the crispness of it, and actually has a project right now called Limn that we'll talk about more details in the newsletter, but it is an ongoing mint through Bright Moments. You can mint in any of the cities, 0.1 Ether. I guess I just talked about it now. Those are the major highlights. But I really wanted to focus more on Raylan Ark, more so than the new release that she has, and just point her out. Like, go check out her work. I think you'll be hearing the name more frequently. The next artist is Lunarian. So Lunarian was one of the artists that was part of the Parkinson's fundraise that I mentioned earlier with Element. But Lunarian is also really quite popular for Solace, their collection that I'm showing here now on the FxHash page. Solace is 240 pieces, and it is quite beautiful. And I think this is a project that will do quite well. Do not own it, but I am thinking about picking one up if I'm being completely honest with everybody here. And some of these pinks are ooh. And so Lunarian has a following because of Solace. That's why I'm focusing on that. But they also have fantastic art there, and I'm really excited to see where they go. Oh, this one, City in the Wind, so cool. Only 32 pieces, but really, really beautiful pieces. I love the aesthetic here. Last one I mentioned many times, but Perkwork. Perkwork is the next Art Blocks curated, and I think it's always worth it to check out an Art Blocks curated artist and see what they have, see what you like. So, let's see what they have on Foundation, right? A lot of really quite beautiful works here with some varied styles that I like to see as well. So take a look at Perkwork. I think you'll like their work quite a bit. They, 6 collections on FxHash. This one more recently, We're Alone Together, is actually, well, maybe the perfect segue. This is one of the ones that I wanted to highlight for art to watch. The floor is 340 Tezos, but I really enjoy the variety of these. And it is a flow fields project. And I think perhaps some people, you hear a lot like too many flow fields projects where it looks too much like Fidenza. I get it. So if you don't enjoy it, of course, don't collect it. I personally do, and I like the variety, and I like the differences that this has compared to other flow fields projects. So that was the first art to watch that I wanted to highlight. The next one is called Bravura by D. Marchi. 205 pieces, 500 Tezos floor. And this one is just, I don't know, it just speaks to me. I have no inside knowledge about what people think about it. It's just, I think, really beautiful work. And the other thing that I noticed about this, and again, I'm glad I'm able to show you all in video. If you jump down to stats here on FxHash, they really have great stats. So I like to go all time and take a look at the floor. How has the floor been doing? And the floor has been creeping down a little bit on this one, but I almost see that as a good thing in this case because I think it's great art and I think it just kind of needs to be rediscovered. We can also check median price. And median price, this is median listing price, has kind of held. So even though the floor has crept down, that makes me think there are just kind of a few people that might be trying to get out. I mean, of course, this median price has come down a little bit too. But either way, I think it's worth watching because it is just beautiful art and you look at some of the collectors here, these are really strong collectors as well. I mentioned Perkwork. Let's go to Fontana by, I skipped one. I want to say Fontana. Let's do Foundations first by Florian Zombrun. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This collection has a 250 Tezos floor. It is actually recently launched. So this one came out in December 22nd. And it minted at relatively low price, 30 Tez fixed. It's not even Dutch auction. So it's up 8x already from that, which is quite a bit. I remember people talking about this and sharing it a lot. I think it's beautiful art. And I do like the aesthetic here quite a bit. And the other thing I wanted to note is that this artist is actually going to have a collection drop with art blocks. And I wanted to show off some of the functionality. I'm sorry, a little bit of a shameless plug. But what's cool about having this calendar is you can search for your favorite artist and see if anything comes up. Nothing in January here, but actually their art blocks project will be releasing in February. It is called Tout Trace. It's probably pronounced slightly differently, but I think this also looks great. And I think that collection, their collection on FxHash that was recently quite popular, could also do well. So if you want one of those, it might be worth it to go ahead and secure one. Either way, watch the collection. I think it'll be interesting. And the last one that I wanted to talk about is Fontana by Harvey Rayner. Now, Fontana has been really popular for quite some time, but it's cooled off. People haven't really been talking about it as much. And I personally think it's kind of fallen into that memories, anti-cyclone, and meridian category. I think those will all sort of be thought of similarly and thought of that they should be valued similarly. We do have 13% listers here in Fontana. It was at 18 earlier, went down to 11. So it's up a little bit. And some people are taking offers. I think people who maybe were riding the momentum are trying to get out now, especially as the price of Ethereum increases in US dollar terms. And perhaps they're seeing other opportunities. But in general, I would say that this is a collection I think is interesting because it has so much almost universal admiration. We love Harvey. Full disclosure, I'm now an owner of a Fontana, and it's because I think that it could move to a place where it's less attainable soon, and within weeks or maybe a couple of months. And I just really wanted to secure one because I love the project. So wanted to point that out. And I'm really excited to see how some of this art that we love does in the coming weeks. That's our show. Thank you for tuning in. We are at collectors_XYZ on Twitter. We are also, actually, I can show you. I'd like to be able to do that. YouTube /@collectors_XYZ. And really appreciate you tuning in. Really appreciate your support. Please let me know how you found this video episode, and we will see you next week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning into Collector's Corner. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you like this episode and want to help us out, please subscribe and leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on YouTube. Please also follow us on Twitter for announcements as we expand to other social and content platforms. Our Twitter handle is @collectors_XYZ. We'd also love to hear any feedback you have, so please comment or reach out. We're always striving to be more useful and get better so we can help you in your collecting journey. The Collector's Corner team and their guests are not registered investment advisors. All views expressed on this podcast are personal opinions and are not specific inducements to make particular investments or investment strategies, and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. This show is solely for informational and entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, please consult a professional. Welcome to Collector's Corner, the premier digital art platform.
We help collectors gain and maintain their edge, all while appreciating beautiful art.
Let's jump in.